Good afternoon. Welcome to Have a Chat. I'm Audrey Lynch with my beautiful co-star Judy Loge. Good afternoon, Judy.
Nice being with you, Audrey, this gorgeous Monday afternoon.
It is. It is absolutely stunning out there today. It was a beautiful day yesterday.
Beautiful.
I actually felt like it was summer.
Me
when
too.
I stepped out on the patio yesterday morning to have my coffee, I stepped out a little bit and I was like, and I just kept on going, and I sat and had my morning coffee sitting in the sun. The air has shifted a little bit more. You can feel it.
It's a treat.
Last night we did a little bonfire and roasted marshmallows. It was a beautiful evening. We weren't eaten alive or carried away by the mosquitoes, believe it or not.
Because they're bad.
They are bad.
Very bad.
Insane,
but
for
it was
sure.
a glorious day, and today's another one. So
That's
welcome,
right.
everybody.
Yes, welcome. We have a great show lined up for you today. Some fabulous guests that you're not going to want to miss. But we're going to start off our show like we always do with positive quote of the day or a thought. And mine, it's my turn. And I was thumbing through a number of different stars, actually, of course, because I tend to look to them for my little bit of inspiration. And Betty White. Now,
92.
Yes. Amazing woman.
She is. I admire her. Everything about her, and her energy level for that age is phenomenal.
That's just
I hope I'm like that when I'm, 62.
Exactly, and that's just it. And that's what my quote is about today. When I was going through Betty White's quotes throughout her 92 years. Now, of course, this is not going to let me. It's not going to let me do my own thumbprint, so I'm going to actually punch it in there if I can to get to it. And so I can share with you her quote, and I'm going to put my glasses on so I can actually see what I'm punching in.
And then we're all set.
It's pretty fun when your phone doesn't recognize your own thumbprint. But I wanted to talk a little bit because we've talked about mental illness and different things along that line with how important it is to stay healthy mentally as well.
Very much so.
And Betty White does talk about that as well. And she was talking about, in this quote, about your attitude, your mental attitude.
Your mindset.
Yes, exactly. So this is what she has to say. So many of us start dreading age in high school. About your age.
Wow.
They start back then. She says, and what a waste of a lovely life that would be. Oh, I'm 30. Oh, I'm 40. Right. I'm 50.
The big
she
zeros
says.
on the end, right?
She's like, make the most of it at each age.
It's so true. I did not think like that in high school. Did you?
I was thinking more of my future, but I know I'd have to say when she started off, oh, I'm 30. That was a big one.
Not for me. No, 40 was good. 50 sucked. Sorry?
No. See, for me, 30 was like, oh no. 40, I was actually feeling better because I had the children that I was going to have, and I was done. So turning 30 for me was really, really hard. I was in the middle. I had 2 kids, didn't know we were humming and hawing about having any more, and we ended up having 2 more. So when I turned 40, I was like, yes, I actually celebrated that, and then I celebrated 50 even more so.
Oh, that's
because
beautiful.
my mindset has changed.
Me too. When I had my first baby at 30, I was late having babies, so for me it was all just beginning at 30, motherhood and all that stuff. But I embrace age, and I truly believe that aging is a privilege. And the more I age, the more I value that number. At the end of my birthday, which is coming up again, it's like I don't.
What is with that?
I don't dread birthdays. I look forward to them and think,
do you?
Thank you, God, for another birthday. Yes, I do.
No, that's just it. And I also think when it comes to mental attitude towards your age, it seems like most women have a bigger issue with it, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think men do as well. They just don't show it.
But we've got to live each day. That's what we've got to do.
That's
Embrace life and live.
No, attitude is huge.
It is.
For
and
sure.
Thank you for that beautiful quote,
Yes,
Betty White.
Definitely. So you have some exciting news.
You don't think it's exciting, but I do. I've been online looking at puppies because I'm obsessed with puppies, okay? And we have a beautiful girl. She's a diva, Diva Diana, and she's a golden doodle that we have totally embraced, and she's a huge part of our family.
And she's the only animal you've had for the last 8 years.
Only female in my house.
Oh, besides yourself.
Yeah, so it had to be a girl.
You had to try to balance things out.
And
Okay, I get
now
it.
that she's older, Audrey, I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have a little puppy? I got a new puppy yesterday.
That's the exciting news.
That's my exciting news because I'm puppy crazy. Baby crazy and puppy crazy. They're my 2 things I love the most in the world. And so I was searching and looking at dogs, and we came up with a sheepadoodle that just, oh my gosh, I had to have it. And I had to convince my family. They weren't hard to convince.
No, I wouldn't imagine.
Gerard was a quicker.
Really? Than the boys?
No, he was initially very good, and then he changed his mind and said, then he said, get the dog.
Oh, you're
so
kidding.
Jance and I made the trip yesterday to bring home a beautiful 8-week-old sheepadoodle named Zara. And
my goodness. She's beautiful. If you haven't seen her on Facebook, she is stunning.
And when I went to the home to pick her up, she came to me and kissed me and licked my face, and I thought it's instant. I'm in love. And she slept on Jansen's knee all the way home. We got her in fun days. She never said peep. We let her out to go to the bathroom in Blackville, and she's been as good as gold. Whimpered a bit in the night, got up throughout the night with Jansen, and now she's got her new puppy blanket and her toy, and she's diva. Had her nose out of joint for the first half hour.
I was going to say, what's Diva thinking of the whole new edition?
Well, you know, Audrey, it's like a baby coming along, right?
That's right.
But we made sure that our number one girl is getting a lot of extra attention.
That's right.
You've got to make sure that you make your number one.
Yeah, animals have mental attitude as well. They can really, and how that adjustment happens is huge.
I would never do that to her. She's been in our life and our number one for 8 years, and to see this new one and all the attention on a puppy, it's divided evenly.
So the new puppy, does she like?
She was terrified.
Diva?
We have a big hallway lamp, and she was hiding in the corner behind it.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh,
Poor
my
little
land.
thing. So we're very happy to welcome Zara.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's going to be interesting.
You're going to try and walk the both of them now at the same time?
By the time she's full grown, they'll be walking me.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right, exactly. So this is going to be a larger animal as well.
She'll be about 80 pounds.
Wow.
Diva's about 60, so.
Good luck with all of that.
Thank you. I'll call on you.
Keep us updated on Facebook, which I'm sure you will. Other things that happened here in Miramichi, the Relay for Life happened over the weekend, and I was actually down doing the hair cutting ceremony, and we had a really, really nice surprise. A former stylist of mine, Ashley Doyle, came with me.
Oh, nice.
And we went down. We had 5 people that were looking to donate, a mother and daughter.
Beautiful.
And then 3 other little girls. We had one girl who 8 inches is the minimum in which the requirement is, and she wanted to give 11 because there's actually one particular hair donation place that wants to make long-haired wings for children, for little girls.
Nice.
And they need at least 8 inches, so she was willing to give the 11 or 12 inches that was required for that.
Did you cut?
So the funny thing, we did the cutting. The funny thing is all of a sudden, out of the woodwork, this older lady come in, beautiful salt and pepper hair, had her hair in a braid that must have been about 16 inches long. And she's like, yeah, go ahead, cut it right there.
Isn't that something?
She did. And so we cut off her braid and put that and sent that. They're going to send that away for a donation as well.
Amazing, really.
And we no sooner got off the stage when we had a gentleman. He goes, you can cut my hair if you want. And sure enough, he had long enough hair that, and he had a beard and a mustache. I did share pictures of that on Facebook. You should take a peek because
I'll have to look.
I had to. Well, his friends were sort of giggling and laughing because when you take a man with really long hair and a full-on beard and you literally cut it off at the ponytail, he goes, well, how does it look? Because of course we have no mirrors or anything out in the park in Newcastle. I said, did you ever see that movie Robin Hood?
Oh.
And Friar Tuck.
You think Friar Tuck?
So,
oh dear.
So I'm sure he's probably somewhere today barbering and getting that all straightened out. But I just want to say thank you so much to everyone that came out that day for, whatever reasons you were there for. It was truly, truly a great, great turnout there because they had changed the location.
Yes.
And for all the people that came to donate their hair.
Beautiful. And I want to thank you for doing that.
Oh, goodness.
It's your time, your volunteer work, you're a beautiful stylist, but you took your afternoon, your day for the Relay of Life to help those people in need of feeling like their best when they're undergoing chemotherapy, losing their hair, and might now have a beautiful wig thanks to you and these people that offer their time and hair. Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
So what else was happening? What did you do?
Well, let me tell you something.
Okay.
Guess where my husband and Jansen are right now?
Right now?
I'm so envious, but I'm happy. On the way to see the Raptors game.
Tonight's game?
Tonight?
Oh,
they're catching a plane, and they're on their way. They'll be on the flight now to go to tonight's game in
I have
Toronto.
to say and the only reason I'm super, super excited, besides the fact that, Toronto Raptors Canadians, I'm not a big, huge sports person to sit and watch the full playouts and stuff like that, but my husband and I stopped by, so I had noticed on Facebook that Boston Pizza was having a special gathering, come out and see the game, and I'm like, well, why don't we do that? It's something different.
Last week? Yeah, Friday night.
So Friday night we went, and I'm not going to lie, Boston Pizza was packed.
Oh, yes, big
on the
fans
sports
of the
side,
Miramichi.
and so we got a seat and there's so many TVs to watch, and you could not help but get enthralled in the excitement that everybody was there. And I found myself glued to a basketball game, if you can believe that.
I can, because it's a hype, and tonight I'm going to be watching my husband and son. They said they got really good seats, kind of really close, and I'll be like with the dogs, and the dogs will be pooping, and I'll be going, hi honey, I'm home with the 2 dogs, and you guys are out having a blast. But I'm so happy for them because they are big basketball fans.
Is this game 7?
This
Where
is
are we
game
at?
5.
Oh, game 5.
They've
Okay.
won 3-1 now.
Okay.
Okay, so it's the Golden State Warriors, and again, the only Canadian
Golden State
basketball
Warriors.
team
Is that
we've
California?
got. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Golden
Okay.
State Warriors.
Okay.
They are the champs year after year. I think it's
Are
been
they?
like
They've won
3 or 4
a number
now
of
in a
times.
row.
Okay.
So this is huge. They're going to come in and they're going to go for the attack. They're going to not want to go down easy. Let me tell you.
No.
But
I'd have to say it's very exciting and
it
thrilling
is.
to
I'm going to
watch.
stay up, but no matter how red my eyes are.
I know
and
it's
puffy,
10 o'clock tonight. Is
I'm
that
watching
our time?
it. I don't know.
I don't know either.
They're an hour behind, so if it's at 9, we're at 8 o'clock here.
So, okay.
We are at 10 o'clock, and they'll be an hour behind. They'll be 9.
Okay.
So whatever time the game is, I'm
Yeah.
watching.
Okay. I
But,
know, me too.
But go Raptors, go. I mean,
Yes.
this could make history. This is huge. That's
It
why
is.
Gerard and Jansen wanted to go, because
They want to be
they
there
might
for
not
just
win,
in-
too. Let's just face it. They might
No.
go down. But if they win, it's the first
It's
time
gonna be huge.
ever. We're the only Canadian basketball team there is, and they've never, ever won.
No.
So
Have never gotten this far to the playoffs.
oh my gosh,
even,
they
I
never
don't
made the
think.
finals ever in history.
No.
So this could be
No.
history.
No.
I'm
I
stoked.
just hold out so much hope for them.
Yeah.
Like I said, I watched them play. I'm not big on basketball, but they're good.
Oh, they're
They're
very
really
good.
good.
And they're big.
Yeah.
They can
For
walk my
sure.
dogs any day.
Yeah. So you were an MC at what this past weekend?
This past weekend on Friday night for a change, it's normally Saturday night, but they
Oh, yeah, it
changed the
was.
date for the Josie Foundation.
Okay.
And we had guests on last week from the Josie Foundation. We had the president and a director, Lois Tozer and Lauren Amos, who graciously came on and talked about their roles with Josie Foundation, which, just to repeat, is a foundation which allows people to donate that will help those in economic hardships financially.
Right.
Because you just said people are going for treatment, losing their hair, don't want to go to the house, they're ill maybe,
No.
but they need grocery money
That's
because
right.
they can't, they're not employed
Because
perhaps.
you have the person that's who's not well,
Right.
who can't work possibly unless
Yeah.
it's a child, and then you have the a parent or a family member or the spouse who has to take off time work. Like things can go downhill financially very, very fast
Very,
when someone
very
gets
fast.
sick. You start missing payments. You start,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And that's a whole stress in itself.
And gas.
On
So they
top
give
of.
gas certificates in case you have to travel for chemo. They give gas just to go anywhere because of the lack of funds, right? I am
Exactly.
so proud to be
So
part
the
of the
night went
Josie
good?
Foundation. It was beautiful. Stephen Sommers was the guest speaker.
Oh, yes.
And he has watched his little girl at 8 years old go through
Right.
leukemia, survive, and his wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, which ultimately down the road led to brain cancer, which ultimately took her life. So
Right.
while Stephen had his daughter on chemotherapy, his wife was undergoing chemotherapy. And he talked about faith, and he talked about, the joy you have of spending your last few, days, months with your loved one. They've given a
Right.
bit more time to her
Right.
through surgery.
Right.
And he said, what that year and a half gave to us to spend with my daughters. And it's just heartwarming, powerful, and his singing was incredible. And Aaliyah wrote her own song, the little girl
Oh,
that
you're
survived
kidding. Yes.
leukemia. She's in grade
Right.
10 now.
Oh,
and
wow.
seriously, it could be on the radio. She was that good.
Oh, you're kidding.
The audience was in
You'd
awe.
buy her album.
I would buy her album.
Or
I would
CD.
be
Do we
her
do
agent
albums?
if I could be her agent.
CDs.
She's amazing. And
Is she?
and my husband said too, every year they have phenomenal speakers that bring a presence to the stage because of their journey and
Right.
survival, or their
Yes.
journey and their loss. And people are saying, they're there, but for the grace of God, go on. That could be me tomorrow,
That's
stricken
right.
with an illness. And
That's right.
that's why I grab onto every
Could be
day, Audrey.
anybody at any moment. Unfortunately,
I know.
cancer doesn't care.
It does not care.
No, it doesn't matter.
So it was a very beautiful
night.
night.
It was a good evening.
Very
it went really
successful,
well. Full
and I
house?
encourage people to yes, and a
Yeah.
beautiful dinner catered by Collins Catering, a Chinese auction with great prizes.
Right.
It was lovely.
Oh, it was. It really was.
Yes.
It's fantastic. We have a great show lined up for our guests today. We really do.
I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. And we're just going to touch on a little bit. It is prom week, graduation that's coming up for all of us. I cringe a little bit as a mother,
I know.
being nervous about the parties and different things like that. But I'm so excited for them as
Me
well.
too. I'm
I
excited
have
for
one
you.
graduating. Yes.
That handsome Reese.
Yes.
Little movie
Yeah,
star
my
she
little
has.
James Dean. Yes. He
He's
finally got
very-
his cast off.
Yes.
He has his cast off, I should say. And so where he had the incision, he did end up having to have 3 little screws or pins put in his hand because he had broken his finger.
For those who missed it, he
Yeah.
had a terrible rugby injury.
Yeah. And so, yeah, but his nose is looking better as well. They had manipulated that and put that back together, and we picked up his tuxedo.
He's so gorgeous. And isn't
different
that
things like
beautiful?
that.
He's graduating, another one. You're raised to
So
go
we
off on
want
their
to
own.
encourage the kids, like, it's exam week. You're almost done. You've
Study.
had your last day of school. So, you know, put your energy in, get a good night's sleep, and eat well this
And
week.
do well in the exam. Don't just think about the parties. Think about your marks. Just for this week, try your hardest to do well in the exam.
No, well, I mean, you've worked so hard all year.
Exactly.
Right? You know what I mean? You put in the effort. So, I mean, because it could very easily go wrong in the last,
I know that.
the last
but
part.
congratulations on
unfortunately.
Reese. And on your daughter who sang at the, I attended the awards ceremony last
too.
week because we give out, as a Rotarian for the Chatham Rotary Club, we give out
So you were there.
scholarships.
Oh, okay.
This year we're giving out 2 scholarships to the James and Hill students, $3,500 each.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
And $1,500 to the Vocational Service Award recipients. So it's in the honor of Ron Morrison, who received it from the Rotary Club. They've
Okay.
established it in his name. So 2 students will receive that too.
Oh, wow.
And so I'll be there to present 2 of the scholarships. And on that note, I was at the awards ceremony last Friday morning, and your daughter sang absolutely
did.
beautifully
She
on
did.
stage.
I do have a video of it, and I'd love to post it to Facebook, but I have not been given permission from her.
Danae.
She doesn't think she did that well just because she can hear the nervousness in her voice.
No.
But I think she did really, really well, and
She
she
did
gets a handle on her
amazing.
nerves. She's going to be unstoppable.
gorgeous.
She got Rookie of the Year for rugby
Yes,
as well.
she did. I saw. I
So-
get goosebumps. She's only in grade 9.
She's only in grade 9. Yep.
So
yep.
talented.
And she actually, I want to wish her the best of luck before we go to break and bring
Yep.
on our great guests. She starts her first job today.
Where?
At 5 o'clock today. She's working at McDonald's.
Good experience. I
Yes.
say every kid should work at McDonald's because
Yeah.
of the fast pace and the customer
No,
service
if you
required.
can do that, you can definitely, the customer service, the fast pace, the in and the out,
The
and
personalities,
the pleasant and the unpleasant customers that you have
Oh
to
my
deal
gosh,
with.
I think it's super.
I think well, that's where I started.
I think that's an awesome
where I
place for
started.
anyone to work to gain all the experience they can about like
I
what you just
know.
mentioned. Oh,
That's just
there's
it.
so much to it.
I'm actually excited to see her in her uniform and take a picture.
She's
and just,
adorable.
You know, you have to celebrate all those tiny little. It might not
Yes.
seem like much to us, but to them, like I came home with a cake for her that day. Even
Yeah.
you know what I mean,
She got-
Rookie of the Year,
yeah.
just to
Oh,
make
for sure.
recognition of all those little things. It inspires them to keep going and to work harder.
Yeah.
You don't realize. Just those tiny little gestures can make
and how
our
proud
kids,
you are. It means so
Yeah.
much to our kids. We tell them we're proud all the time.
Yes,
For
definitely.
everything.
And sometimes they think, oh, you have to say that because
I
you're the
know.
mom. But that's not necessarily
No,
true.
we tell our kids all the time,
No.
we are so proud of you.
Yeah, definitely. So we have a great show lined up. I believe that we're going to be bringing on our first guest is going to be Sam Johnston.
Sam Johnston's awesome. Let's just say it. I
Definitely,
can't
yeah.
wait to have him on.
Yeah, so we'll be back with more Have a Chat after the break. Don't go away. Welcome back to Have a Chat. We have our first guest joining us, Sam Johnston. Hello, Sam.
Hi guys, how you doing? It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a
Thank
pleasure
you
to
so
have you.
much.
Yes.
Do you know Sam?
I do know Sam. I don't know him super personally, but we bump into each other at the gym.
Yeah, I see you at the gym all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think, I'm going to say it to everybody that's watching the show, I think of all the people I know, you're the top most dynamic person I know. Sam,
Well, thank you,
It's
Judy.
the
Well, you know
truth.
what? I think the same of you. So, you know what? We're going to make a good team today in the
well, you're
talk
just
show.
such positive energy,
Definitely.
and he's always positive.
Yeah, so for all of our viewers out there who might not know who Sam is, you're going to tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm Sam Johnson, and I grew up in Miramichi.
Okay.
I was actually born in Chatham and raised in Newcastle, but I've also lived in Chatham, head in Douglastown, so I kind of did a tour of the river.
You did.
Right?
And then I moved to Moncton. I
Oh,
worked
did
for the federal. I worked for the federal government, so I
Yep.
lived in Moncton for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came back home,
Yay.
and so happy to be back home and
Settled in.
finish out that part of my life and settle in and look towards the future, being home where I'm most comfortable with family and friends.
So happy they're back here
Yes.
sharing.
I'd have to say that when someone mentioned your name, and I'd be like, I'm not really sure if I know who that is. And they're like, yeah, that Taekwondo guy.
Yes.
That's what they would say. And I was like,
Right.
oh, yes, I feel like I've heard that story kind of thing. So that's part of who you are as well and known in Miramichi, I think.
Yeah,
okay.
it certainly
Right.
is.
It's
I've been involved in
unbelievable.
that for the better part of my life, for sure.
Oh, you were?
Taekwondo.
Okay.
Yeah, Taekwondo
Okay.
and different martial arts. Yep.
Let's go from before you get into your martial arts career. you were a guest speaker at the Josie Foundation, which we just talked about.
Right.
And maybe you want to tell us why you were the guest speaker that night, Sam.
You know, I look back on that very fondly, Judy, and I have to thank you for initiating my presence there and having me on as a keynote speaker, because it was a very powerful experience.
Extremely.
I am a leukemia survivor, and that was a very daunting time in my life, and it's been quite a journey having gone through that. And things weren't looking good for me for a while, and survived, and had to kind of have a new normal in my life.
Right.
So the presentation at the Josie Foundation really served as a catalyst for me to be able to connect to people, to be able to give something back positive, and hopefully inspire people, especially, and it was very meaningful to me, especially from Miramichi, where I grew up and I'm from.
But you really had a huge story, because when you were diagnosed, you not only battled that disease of leukemia, but Sam, tell the folks just how low you had gotten at one point.
Well, you know, it's really, it was an incredible journey, because I was diagnosed with leukemia.
How long
and
ago was that?
That was in 2010, 2011.
Okay.
So I was diagnosed at that time, and when I found out I was diagnosed, the prognosis was, it wasn't great. But
What was it that was happening that even sent you to the doctor, if I can just...
yeah,
having
that's,
symptoms
well, that's
or
an
anything?
interesting question, because when I look back on it, I had been feeling tired for a while, and then when I went to the gym, I'd sweat profusely, like unusually,
Right.
like
Because
a
you were a
lot.
physically fit person, the Taekwondo
Extremely.
thing.
Oh,
You know what
and
I mean?
I always
Healthy.
went to the gym and
Powerhouse.
cross-trained.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I would wake up at night and I would be sweating a lot. And then I started to, I'd have a special class on Friday evenings for where competitive guys would come in from outside the area.
Right.
And I started losing my breath when I trained really hard with them on Friday night. And I thought, well, I'm getting a little older, but it was never like
Yeah,
that before.
yeah.
So I went to my doctor and we ran some tests, and the final thing was a blood test. And when it came back, the news was not good.
No.
Wow.
No.
So I was completely blown away. I had no idea
Blindsided,
that
for
this
sure.
would or could even happen
That's
to me.
cancer word. Oh.
You know, and when I went to see the specialist, the oncologist in Moncton, it was a very dire prognosis. So I just decided, you know what? I'm scheduled to leave for language training in 3 days. I packed my kit and I left for Quebec.
Be you.
And I went and I did my language training and studied really hard and still kept exercising, came back and waited for a call to go to the hospital. Within a week, I was in the oncology unit in the 6th floor of the Mountain Hospital getting chemo.
I know.
I had to do that phase of therapy twice because my Hickman line came into my chest.
The Hickman line.
Yeah.
Because you were exercising when you shouldn't have,
Well,
probably.
yeah, and that came out, so I had to do it all over again. And
Oh.
I finally got below 5% cancerous blast in my blood,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
allowed me to go for the bone marrow transplant in Halifax to that specialized unit.
That's
and
right.
Because the type of cancer you had was
Yeah.
leukemia, blood
Blood
cancer.
cancer.
a
Yeah.
blood cancer, which I would think, for me, when I hear that, I think of children. That
Well,
it's a
it's-
children's
It hits a
cancer.
lot of
It hits a
Yes,
lot of
eh?
people, but
Yes.
it is one of the cancers that are common in children as
Okay.
well, and that is so heartbreaking. So
It is.
when I was down there in the bone marrow unit, and the IWK is down there, of course,
Mm-hmm.
there's only 6 beds in the bone marrow unit, but
What?
there's leukemia patients coming in from all around the Maritimes all the time, and people are waiting to go. So for all you folks out there that are thinking
Yeah.
of donating your blood, please
Yes,
do,
yes.
because it can make a difference in someone's life.
does.
It could save
I
someone's
know.
life.
Truly.
So my brother's blood saved mine. My 2 sisters didn't match me. So after the chemo and everything was really tough, and I got home, I thought I was well. I thought I was going to be okay.
Did you? Okay.
Then I started getting really sick again, unable to move my limbs. I just couldn't hold anything down.
And this is
And-
after the bone marrow?
Right.
And
Well,
everything. Or
What ended
everything.
up happening, I got graft versus host disease because my brother's blood in a new host body started attacking my internal organs.
Sam.
Oh, my land. Which is a risk, which is why you take
That's
anti-rejection
right. You
drugs,
take
right?
all, and I took as much the type of chemotherapy is called methotrexate that I took to prevent that. I took as much as they could give me before I
Right.
could survive
Right.
to prevent that from happening, but it still did.
Oh.
And I got grade 4, which is the highest, and once you get that, it's
Pretty grim.
really like you're probably
Wow.
not going to make it.
I can't
And-
believe what you went through.
Yeah, and I could at one point for a long time I could only move my head, and I lost almost 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And it was really a humbling experience, if anything. And it was a long journey back to health.
But they at one point given you what percentage what percentage of survival?
Less than 10% chance. My parents were called, my wife, my children, and everybody kind of came to say goodbye, and I never gave up. I told my oncologist, don't give up on me. I'm not gone yet.
You wouldn't give up. That's the thing about you, Sam. You said, I'm not going to let that take my life.
Yeah.
So what do you do in your head? Take us in your head when you're told all these things that you yourself are like, yeah, no, not happening.
You know, it's funny to say that.
Where do you draw that strength from?
Well, when I was little, I was an altar boy at St. Mary's for a number of years, and I used to do Mass sometimes 4 times a week, and I'd go to the convent after Mass during the week, and I had 2 great aunts that were nuns, and sometimes I'd do Mass there. And we'd pray for a happy death, and I remember going home and it would scare me.
Oh, wow.
Right? And then I got older and I'm laying in that bed unable to move, and then I remembered back and I thought, that's exactly what they were talking about.
Faith
right?
was huge.
Faith, a lot of faith in my family. Thanks to my mom, inspired me with a lot of faith. I kept that in my life, and I have a very determined personality.
Yeah, I guess you do.
And I was physically and psychologically fit because of living a Spartan life, and you can relate to that.
Yeah.
Audrey, training at the gym all the time. And martial arts makes you strong outside but strong inside too.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So I had that indomitable spirit to continue. And because of those 3 things. Some of the things I did to survive in that time, I'd get them to move the furniture around the room, I'd count the dots in the ceiling tiles, I'd look outside the window, I could turn my head to the right and, you know, count the boats in the harbor or see what different types of birds flew by, anything to stay mentally active.
There. So, but at one point or any time, is there a time where you're like, you know,
wanting to give up and give in?
Yeah, exactly.
I
Because
was
you feel so unhealthy. Like,
and you're in pain. I was in physical and mental pain. But there was one time I was my lowest point.
Yes.
I'll never forget this. And I said it the evening at the Josie Foundation. It was the wee hours of the morning. I couldn't move. I was laying there, and I couldn't get to the water bottle. I had a stint in my throat. My throat was dry. I couldn't even cry out for help. And the nurse came in the room to check on me, and she stayed with me the rest of the night and held my hand. And she told me, don't give up. The darkest hour is just before dawn. Look outside. See how dark it is? The sun's going to come up. And she kept talking to me and talking to me. And then when I looked out, my God, the sun was up.
Sam.
It was at that moment I decided I'm going to live.
Yeah, he's just amazing. And we've got to touch on your achievements, because I know you won't want to bring them up, but you have been, what was your most recent championship that you took the title for in Taekwondo? It was big.
Well, interestingly enough, just as I got sick, I was invited to go to the International Masters Instructors course in Seoul, Korea.
In South Korea, in Seoul?
Yeah, at the Kukiwon, the World Taekwondo headquarters. And I was training to go when I was diagnosed.
Okay.
I was so sad and disappointed because instead of going to Korea to train, I was in the bone marrow unit in Halifax, right?
Life that curve.
I vowed if I got better, I would go back to Korea and complete that goal in my life.
Oh, for goodness sake. So now when you take that turnaround and you're starting to feel better, now give us a little bit of a timeline. Where are we at now? Oh my
goodness. Like when I went back to my class, it took me, at the start, I could only walk in and talk and give instructions, and then in fact, I couldn't even stand up. I had to sit down, and then I could stand up.
Because it takes time to build all that strength back,
and then I could walk around. Like when I was in bone marrow unit, I started to move my arms again. I couldn't bench press 2 bottles of water.
You can't get over this. Look at you now, fit as a fiddle again.
You know, I couldn't.
Just because you have that muscle memory and you've had that history with it, it still takes time to bring that back.
A lot of time, Audrey. It took me probably 2 years before I could teach the class again. And the doctors told me not to do it, that I would never be able to train again.
You'd never be at that level again.
And they told me to medically retire, and I refused both.
Because you get it done, Sam.
You're a goer and a doer.
Mental attitude is so much of your personality.
So once I got to the point that I could train again, and I felt safe that I could go to Korea with my immune system, because I wasn't allowed to leave the country for a number of years. At about 6 years out, I went to Incheon, flew to Incheon outside of Seoul, went to Seoul, did the Master Instructors course, and then more as a celebration of life than anything else, I decided to enter the World Hangmadang Taekwondo Championships.
Oh, the world!
And I entered an open division 18 and up. Now, you got to remember, I'm
18 and up.
I'm 52 as well. And the tournament was over 3 days, and I kept winning and staying in there. And then finally we got to the finals. I was against this great big fellow from China that was in his 20s.
Oh, my Lord.
And we went into overtime, and I won. But
Oh,
one
my
of the most
land.
special
I get
things,
chills.
yeah,
I
one of the
know.
most special things about it was there was no Canadian fans, but there was a contingent of Chinese people there.
Yes.
There was about 500 in this arena that sat about
Oh my.
4,000 people. But every day it was on the Korean news, more and more local Korean people came.
To support
And
you.
they
Right.
would say Canada,
Yeah.
Canada.
Oh, you're
right.
You
kidding.
know,
Love
it
it.
really became something kind of special for me. It was very touching.
I think it's incredible. Your story is incredible.
Yeah,
actually.
it was really special for me. I never expected to win anything.
So what year was that?
That was 2017.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's just not that
And
long
you've been
ago
a
at
guest
all.
speaker. You were a guest speaker at another. Was that the same event or another
No,
one?
well, what happened after that, they had the World Leadership Conference where different international committee members go, different Kukiwon executive
Okay.
leaders, some
Okay.
politicians
Yeah.
from Korea, VIPs from around the world. There's about representing about 40 different countries.
Amazing.
And I was asked to go as a keynote speaker and give a motivational, inspirational speech, if you will, on how physical culture and Taekwondo assisted me in surviving leukemia and facing the greatest challenge of my life. So
Did you
that was
wow
special
the
as
audience?
well.
Were they just in awe of
You know-
your story? Because I am.
Judy, it was very special because although everybody wore headphones,
Yeah,
because
the
there were so many
translations.
translations of languages,
Right.
I think I got hugs from people from 20 countries
So
at least.
Oh, wow.
excited.
And then afterwards, emails from all over the world. It was really, really
So
touching
proud
and
of you,
inspirational.
Sam.
Thank
I
you
mean,
so
what
much.
is a hero to me. I'm
No,
serious
It
about
was,
that.
Exactly.
it was wonderful, and what was really special for me is to give people hope,
Huh.
regardless of
Right,
culture,
of where
language,
you're at.
religion.
All right.
Everybody can relate to facing challenges and daunting diagnosis in their life.
Where there's
and
life, there's
cancer
hope.
does not discriminate.
No.
No, like
So
you
that was-
said,
that
even
was
with your
special.
health background and things like that, cancer didn't care and grabbed a hold of
And
you.
guess what?
Yeah.
Now he's got in the horizon. He's thinking
A
about
book.
entering
Are
and
we
no,
doing
but
a book?
another area in his life he
Oh,
wants to take
what?
on.
Well, I'm back home now,
Right.
and I'm starting to look forward to the future and looking kind of have a new vision kind of thing. So I've been approached by several people to consider trying to get into public life. So
Oh, wow.
I
Wow, that's way out in left field. I wasn't expecting
yeah.
that.
So
okay.
I'm kind of thinking of in next year running for
Right.
council.
Do it.
And I want to contribute to the
Nice.
community. I enjoy inspiring people. I enjoy giving people hope, and I've been a leader in the community in the past, and I want to continue to contribute and represent everybody in Miramichi to the best of my ability. And I think I'm going to take that'll be my next challenge.
And you have my
perhaps.
support.
Well, thank you.
You know
Judy.
that.
I appreciate
You
it.
know that. I just can't. You're such a role model to everyone listening today and to me. Because, I mean,
thanks.
people like you
Thanks so
inspire me,
much.
don't you find?
Well,
Audrey?
I'm thinking a book deal. Is anybody else getting that? Like this
Why
should
don't
be
you,
in
Sam,
writing.
write a book?
This story and what you
think
went
so,
through. I
too.
think so many people would benefit of hearing the little more finer details that went along with your journey.
It was an incredible experience, and the pastor, the Presbyterian pastor that was at the hospital, actually wrote a book, and he did a chapter on our experience together,
Oh, okay.
with him mentoring me and inspiring me as my life coach to get through that time.
Right.
And I don't know if he's watching, but thanks,
Yes.
Dave. You saved me.
And your beautiful wife was
and,
by your
oh,
side.
Sharon was there
is
every
incredible.
step of the way,
She's
my
an amazing
family.
woman.
Well,
You're-
her experience for this alongside of you, you know what
Yes.
I mean? Like she could probably tell a whole other
I know.
what it's like to be the spouse to
Right.
watch.
And she went through it as well. So
Exactly.
Your
you know,
children too.
and my daughter Hannah and my son Shane both. I'm very blessed with a beautiful family, and I'm just so
Friends.
happy to be back and friends in the area. It's Miramichi is simply awesome.
And God is good.
God is good.
Like
I
I just-
hearken back to your quote about
I love it.
Betty
Yes.
White from
Yes.
Betty White, and it reminds me of, each day is a gift. That's why we call it the present. I'm telling you,
That's
and
right.
live each day like it's your last, because someday
agree.
you'll be right. And we really have to appreciate the small things in life. And try to live life to the fullest on a daily basis. If
I
there's
do.
one thing I've taken from that experience, is that.
I think
Is
you
that-
could go locally first and motivate high school students, junior high students, public, anywhere public would love to hear
No,
him.
exactly.
The Josie Foundation, that night you gave your speech was just enthralled. They were hanging on because, as I just said,
It
you
was
know.
so rewarding, and
Yeah.
and any time you can give back and help someone else, that to me is the most important. And to relate that to the martial arts, like I've won different championships in my life, more when I was a younger guy in my 20s and 30s, even as a late teenager. But the most rewarding thing from the martial arts contributions and experiences that I've had over 35 years, a little better, is when I get a note from someone that's went through a tough time when they were a child. They were in my class, and I was like their second dad, and
mentor.
they didn't feel well. They were lost. They were having a hard time, and now they're a teacher in Mexico, or a doctor in Europe, or an RCMP in BC. And I've gotten those letters and those emails. That means more to me than you'll ever know.
No,
more than any
exactly.
championship or
I
title
know.
or
Thank
belt
you.
rank or
The
anything.
reward.
If you can help your students, especially the youth, and Lord knows,
No.
especially in
Well, the
our
thing is
area
just-
and all over
yeah.
where they need it now.
You never know where or when you're inspiring somebody else by what you're doing
Right.
in your life. So always be doing something that's positive,
Yeah.
because you never know who's watching, listening, or hearing, and
Who you're
seeing
helping.
that you're helping secretly. We want
Absolutely.
to thank you so much for
You've
joining
been
us today.
you are a rock. Better than the rock.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I don't know
Thank
about that,
you
but I'll
so
tell you
much.
this. It's been such a pleasure being here with you guys, and I'm honored to have been on your show
Yeah.
and chatted with you.
Thank you so
And I
much
hope
again.
the folks out there get a positive message
We'll be
and are
back
inspired.
with more Have a Chat after the break. Don't go away.
Thank you.
And we're back with more Have a Chat. Joining us now are our next guests. We have Miss Chinchilla Duvet, and we have Ryan Ward. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having us.
We're absolutely thrilled to be here, trust me.
So you are members of the Pride Miramichi organization
Yes.
here, and Ryan, you are the president, and Chinchilla, you are the vice president. Yeah, so first we're going to start off with you, Ryan. Tell us a little bit about yourself and let our guests know who you are.
Okay, so my name is Ryan Ward. I'm from Ale Ground First Nation, just outside Miramichi. I grew up in both places, Miramichi and Ale Ground, though, because I have family in both areas. I come from a big family. I the only boy in my mother's side.
A little
so-
spoiled then.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's okay.
And currently, I work at Winners in Miramichi.
Love Winners.
Me too.
I
Yeah.
love
We have
that
some
You have to
store.
poke your
best
head in
stuff.
there
Yes,
after. Get the good
it's a
deals.
dangerous place because I want everything I see. Yeah.
Yep. I seen a
Yeah.
meme on Facebook and it was like saying how adults go there just to
Feel
look
good.
around. Yeah.
I know, it's nice,
Well,
beautiful.
window shop. We window shop when we're at Winners, right?
Yeah.
That's what we do, for sure. And Chinchilla?
Well, I'm originally from Belleville, Ontario, actually.
Oh, okay.
I was in the military for 7 years, got posted to Halifax, met my other half, and then when I was medically released for PTSD, I moved to Miramichi, where he's from. So
Oh, okay. So this was years ago, yes?
actually, I just officially moved here March.
Back, okay.
So
Are you doing better with that PTSD? Do you find there's enough resources out there? Because we always
do.
need more, but it's coming, right?
I have a lot of support from Veterans
Good,
Affairs.
good,
Veterans
good.
Affairs is very good. And that's why Chinchilla was also created as well, because Chinchilla allows me to be able to go as a character out into the public and don't have the social anxieties that
That's
I would
interesting.
normally.
That's right.
So it's kind of like putting on a mask
It
Okay.
is.
and then going out, because once I
Okay.
take this off, nobody really knows who I am when I walk by them in the street.
That's
So-
very,
Exactly.
very, and I did not know that's very interesting what you're
Now, would
telling
you
us today.
consider that to be like a coping mechanism then, in a sense?
Yes,
Right?
I use it a lot.
Okay.
For the PTSD because when I go out not in drag, I can't be in a very large group.
Okay.
Right.
But once I'm in drag, I can be in a room of 500 people and
Exactly.
it doesn't
because
even bother
this is
me.
the character.
Yes.
Right?
I love
and
it.
she doesn't have those issues.
She has no issues.
Except looking darn good. In fact, I should do myself
most
up a
of
bit
women
better.
I know, we all have a little bit of an issue, but
Yes.
Chinchilla does not.
Well, she's able to form her body the way she wants, so she doesn't
Right.
really have to work on it. So.
No, exactly.
How
No, that's just
interesting is
it.
that? We want to talk more about that too, don't we?
Yes,
Audrey?
we do. We actually, we're
Right.
going to start off now. You are members, like we said, president and vice president of the
Yeah.
Pride Miramichi. Tell us about that in particular. What
About
is
the
that?
committee?
Yeah?
Okay, so we formalized the committee back last year in 2018.
Okay, so it's brand new.
It's brand new. It was a little like rough go in the beginning of last year because we just kind of slapped it together.
Right,
Us being the first time doing this
Yeah.
to make the weekend longer also.
right.
But it turned out beautiful. It was our first time having a parade last year.
Right.
And we were just also nervous just it's our first time doing this, right?
Well, because there are pride organizations out there.
Exactly.
Correct?
Oh, all over the
This
world
is,
now,
yeah,
aren't they?
that's
Yeah.
just it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
like,
this was the first one in this area.
Exactly. Like in Moncton, it's called the River of Pride.
Okay.
So here we wanted to call it Pride Miramichi.
Pride Miramichi. And you have lots of support, and you've got new members coming on your board.
We do. We formalized a board this year with president, vice president, and we have our treasurer, who is Melanie Malpe Ingersoll,
Wonderful lady.
and Shannon McLeod is our secretary.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
Yes,
Shannon.
she keeps on top of
Positive
everyone.
people, right? And
Yeah.
smart, too. You
Right.
all are smart, so you're going to bring a lot
Thank
to the
you.
table.
Yes.
And we have our youth representative from the schools, Isabella Matchett.
Beautiful.
She's
Okay.
awesome.
Totally awesome.
So engaged and
know.
willing to help. And Andrew Nicholson here from town
Okay.
runs the Pabby's Hobby Shop.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
Paul Shanks, of course.
Paul's
he was
great.
our founder.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
like he was our president last year, and he wanted to step down and let us take the reins
Very
Right.
nice.
because
Yeah.
he's been doing it since 2011. Like
Okay.
Pride in Miramichi, like he does his
Right.
Pride dinner and cruise still, but he's basically started anything that we had Pride related here. So
I realize he's a great person. And so now you're a newcomer. You said, how long have you been in Miramichi?
I've been living here for a year,
Okay.
but I attended my first Pride was 3 years ago
Yeah.
All right.
here when I was Empress, because I was Empress of Halifax.
I see. So now you have a big week planned for Pride events.
Yes, we're
Tell
so
us,
excited.
both of you can share the information.
Yeah,
Maybe a
because
couple.
this is coming right up.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
in
is in
August.
August.
Yes.
It's August 8th to the 11th. Our first event will be our flag raising that we have for the last 5 years.
Yes.
Right.
It's going to be held at Queen Elizabeth Park down here
Nice.
at 3 p.m. August 8th. And then we have so many more events, like we have a trivia night that night at one of the local pubs or bars around here.
Fun.
But then we have a drag show scheduled for the next
We
day.
have,
Really?
yeah, we have actually at Riverside. We're going to be having doors are going to be opening at 6. It's going to be a drag bingo
Right.
to start,
Fun.
and then following the drag bingo, we're going to be going into a drag show, and then after the drag show, we're going to be having an adult dance.
Now,
Oh,
who
nice.
can
So,
go? Anybody?
Anybody
Anybody can
anybody's
support
willing
you
to go.
in this Pride event.
With
Absolutely.
This one specifically, since it's going to be held at the Riverside, it's going to be 19 plus.
Okay.
Right.
Just
Sure.
because of the alcohol
Exactly.
involved and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we do have family-friendly events planned this year as well.
Nice.
The next day on the Saturday, we have an event at the Ritchie Wharf Park.
Good.
And there's going to be live music with local performers, Paula Foley, Chris Guidom,
Oh,
and Jessica
they're
Martin.
Beautiful.
I know, they're so good.
And I
Did
think
you
I think
catch
we're going to
those
have
things?
some
Yeah.
face painters there as
Mhm.
well.
Right.
Also some
Um,
drag performers that we
Drag
have coming
performers as well. We have some drag performers coming from Halifax that
I
are
was
going to
just
be.
going to ask you if they're going to be
Yeah.
local or from away.
Well, actually, one of the queens that are coming down is actually originally from Miramichi,
Yeah.
Okay.
but moved to Halifax. So he's going to be coming back to his home roots. So
You've
Oh,
got
that
to
would
tell
be
us
nice.
about the work that goes into presenting yourself on set. This is just one day.
Yeah,
that
to
you're,
turn into Chinchilla.
Yeah, a guest. But like you started very, very early, Chinchilla, preparing to go anywhere
yes.
when you have to be in the public. Tell us.
When I start from, as I say, from shower to shoes,
Right.
it takes me approximately about 4.5 hours to get ready. The wigs generally take me, when I do my wig, I usually have that done usually in advance,
Beautiful.
Right.
but they take about 3 days to do. And then a lot of my costumes that I wear and stuff like that, I make myself as well.
You
so
make your costumes.
some of my outfits I actually make myself.
So talented.
Between doing the makeup is what takes the longest.
It's an
It
art.
would.
It's an art. Audrey
It
knows
would,
that.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm already working with a female features.
Right.
You have to
Right.
swing things from male to female, so it does
Amazing.
require a little more.
It
work.
helps with me being a makeup artist. It does help with that, but
Right.
it like you had said is I have a very male face and male
Mm-hmm.
figure.
Correct.
So I have to transform this and chisel it to be more feminine.
Feminine,
So it's a lot
exactly.
of contour. It's
So
a
it
lot
requires a
of
lot,
of padding.
more work. To swing things
couch
around.
cushions here and
Yeah.
you know.
And you get fabulous jewelry, so you can
Yes.
find that maybe through travel, but mostly you have to look online and get things that are unique.
Some I get from just going to like antique shows. Like this
Sure.
ring is just from an antique show.
Wow.
This was a gift from when I was an Empress. This was a gift
Put
from
that up,
one of the people.
Chinchilla, and that's,
Yes.
that's quite the sparkle that you have going on.
Yeah.
And it's just to me, it's a great way for me to also express my art.
Well, that's exactly why I love
No,
fashion so
exactly.
much, and jewelry and hair. And all. No, I do. It's so much fun. I consider it art.
Yes.
Actually,
So
putting
It is.
yourself together.
I just want to bring back to the organization itself. What is its purpose? Like, you're having all these different little events,
Yep.
obviously raising money. What is the plan, and what besides making awareness,
Yep.
raising awareness, obviously, for sure.
Well, I think we all have different reasons why we are part of the committee.
Okay.
Like, I know my reason for wanting to be into the committee was because I really want to bring to Miramichi, I want to bring the awareness that, especially to the youth. That,
And the education.
And the education.
Yeah.
Because the more you're educated, the better it's going to be. But I feel the youth need to understand that you need to be free and just be happy on who you are.
Right.
And it's
Be
an
proud
art
of
form.
who you are, yeah.
And so
Expression.
if you want to go to school and you want to wear an eyeliner, go to school and wear an eyeliner. It does take a very thick skin.
I know. I mean,
right.
I don't know, but I'm assuming it would have to step into that zone for sure and
Yep.
be somebody other than your.
But
true.
if you know you have people there that are supporting you,
Exactly.
then you have somewhere to turn.
Sure.
Because I know when I first came out 20 years ago, I didn't have that support system, and it was a very difficult and big struggle to get through. But nowadays, there's so much more support out there. But
Yeah.
I think with being a smaller city, a lot of people are like, oh, is the support there?
Right.
And that's why I try to go out as Chinchilla so people can see, like, well, if he can walk around town that way,
So
then why
Exactly.
can't I be the way I want to
You're
be?
a role
So-
model
No.
for these people. But
That's just
you, when was it that you decided that you wanted to dress such as a female?
Well, it started because I've always been an entertainer ever since I'm a little kid dancing around the house. So I've always been an entertainer. When I was 9, for Halloween, my mom had dressed me in this god-awful flannel dress with this wig, looked like a mop on my head. And I'd gone out for Halloween that way. When I started that point, that was when I was like, I don't want to be a woman,
Right.
but I love the fact of being able to entertain.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
entertaining like this, it attracts attention.
There you go.
Well, it kind
Yeah.
of demands attention.
It does demand attention.
When you see a 6-foot woman coming in with these big hips and big boobs,
It's fun.
everybody's
Yes.
eyes go to that
Yeah,
person.
it's fun.
So
It's fun.
absolutely.
And Ryan, that's not your thing at all.
Actually, I love drag.
Oh, you do?
I
Are you
love
gonna
drag.
is it a secret? Are you going to take part in this event then? Or is that
Probably not as a drag queen.
Oh.
But it's something I would like to do someday. I watch RuPaul's Drag Race it religiously.
I saw RuPaul in person.
Oh, jealous Judy.
Yeah, it was quite a show. It was the
Well, I
Gay
mean,
Pride in
I
Toronto.
totally enjoy this as
Me
well,
too.
though I would not look to do, you know what I mean? I
Right.
enjoy it as pure entertainment
too.
Yes.
kind of thing. But there's such a stigma that goes along with it
Yes.
as well, because there are straight men who love to dress in drag
Yes.
as
Sure.
well.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That if you're doing that, you obviously must be. But that's not the case.
No.
Well,
Right?
I think, and that's why I try to educate people, because I think a lot of people forget that drag's been around since Shakespearean
For
days.
sure.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
Shakespeare, all the plays were all men, so it
That's
would
right.
be in the sideline, it would say drag, and
Yeah.
that's when they would come dressed as girl.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's been around for a long time, and I tell people, I'm like, you know what, with drag being an art, whatever your concept of drag is, that is drag.
What it
Right.
is.
So if you want to put a clown face on and you want to wear a dress, that's your form of drag. To me, drag is art.
Exactly.
My
So
husband,
it's,
sorry,
no,
Audrey.
you go right ahead. Your
I was just
husband?
going to say that we were so excited and fascinated. We went to the big show in Las Vegas where the women are all the guys are all in drag.
Yes.
And we didn't know who was Celine Dion for real, who was Dolly Parton, who was
No.
Shania Twain. It was that good. They were impersonators. They
Yes.
dressed exactly like you said. The sculpting was done. They came out as the males at the end of the show. It was like, I cannot believe that you just came out as whoever it was.
We're
Right.
jealous that their makeup is
Unbelievable.
better. That's what it is.
Yes,
That we
yes,
don't have anyone
go
doing
away.
our makeup.
Well,
And
trust me,
hair.
there's no way that if I tell my other half, I'm like, thank God I'm not a woman. Because if I was, there's no way I could spend 4.5 hours every day to do
Yeah.
this.
I've actually narrowed it down. It's not that much depending on where I'm going. But
That is
But
a
it can
job.
be,
That's
for
a
sure.
job, actually.
And I have a big envy for women, because when you've got to wear corsets and stuff
Yeah.
like
But
that,
we don't do that.
I totally understand what women go through.
I've been there.
I don't
I've been
wear
there.
a
I'm
girdle.
past
I
it
mean,
now.
I I don't even know what a girdle looks like on me.
Yes, but you've been blessed with the beauty
Yes,
of slenderness.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, genetically, yes, for
small
sure. some
frame
people.
for sure.
Yeah.
But it must be very cumbersome to have to wear girdles.
They're not comfortable for
No,
sure.
and sitting
right?
down- and sitting
Eventually
down
you
is
feel like
difficult.
you're in prison,
Yes.
right?
Oh, when you get home
And you
and you
undo
it, it's like that sigh of like, oh, I can breathe again.
Yeah, relief.
Yeah.
And so
No.
it is, but it's fun.
I love what you're doing.
And for
My
you,
mother
it's
doesn't
a
even
level
know.
of therapy.
Yes, it is. I
Right?
didn't realize
It
you were
is
coping
actually.
with PTSD and that's how it all started.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how Chinchilla didn't actually start off as Chinchilla. Her name was actually Crystal Balls.
Crystal balls. Crystal balls, folks.
Okay.
I love it. It's
But
funny.
when I was going to run for Princess in Halifax, I thought it wasn't a very regal name.
No,
Okay.
no.
So I went to my stepdaughter's birthday, which she does as a prom, but I went in drag. Well, in the caption below, it said Chinchilla Duvet with Chinchilla Duvet, and I'm like, but that's not my name. So I found out it was her friend's name that she used as an alias when she would go to bars.
Pretty cool name.
Oh.
And she didn't use it anymore, so I said, hey, do you mind if I use it? And it just kind of stuck.
It
And
has to be the best name, right?
everybody just kind of loves the name Chinchilla
So
Duvet.
do I.
No.
And Ryan, are you
Yeah.
excited about this upcoming? It's August 8th. It begins. Is that a Friday night?
Thursday.
Thursday night is
Yeah.
the
It's
a
Pride
Thursday.
event.
That's a Thursday.
And where do people, Audrey, will want
Like,
to know?
is there
too,
an
where we-
online Facebook page where
you can follow us on Facebook and
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay.
But that's where all of our information is right now. Actually, we're getting a website put up,
Pride
Okay.
Miramichi.
Pride Miramichi. That you could. That's right on Facebook. You could
Okay.
type it in,
You'll be able to click on it and
Yeah.
be a member of or like the page.
like the page, and you'll
Yeah.
get all the updates as we send them out. But we do actually have an event coming up this Friday, a fundraiser with Capers.
Oh, I feel like I might
Out
have
on
got wind
Highway
of that.
11.
Yep, at trivia night. It's not any it's not gay trivia. It's just general
Okay.
general knowledge.
Anyone can go.
So anyone can go. It's going to be really fun. They partnered with us. This is going to be their second event they're going to do with us. Actually, they're so awesome. Like they want to be involved
They are.
and
I know.
they want to help us get up on our feet and whatnot because this is our only second year as a formalized committee, right? So.
So it's still baby steps,
Still
right?
baby steps.
To become bigger and better and being able to get the awareness out there. for
Exactly.
the
And this year will be the
community.
first year that we actually have like a parade
Oh.
Yeah.
on the
Yes, a
Sunday.
float parade.
It's going to have floats.
okay.
Businesses will be in it. It'll be going right down on Pleasant Street.
Yes.
Yeah, gonna go from the former Sykes parking lot
Yes.
down
yeah.
Pleasant Street and then end right by the library.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
okay.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Nice
right
walk.
in and around.
Yeah.
Will it swing around Town Square? Yes.
Yeah, it's
You'll
gonna
take a
go
go right down and
Jail
around.
Street and then Leaded Street.
So it's the first year
What's
that
the
we're
date
actually
for that?
having that
August
one is
11th.
that's the 11th. So that's kind of like closing
This
of
one?
August.
Of August.
So
August.
that's kind
I'm sorry,
of
we're
the
still
what's
in
going to be
August.
closing the ceremonies.
Right.
And next year we've already discussed stuff for next year. Like we're trying to get it bigger and even
Good,
better
good.
next
Yes,
year. So-
extend it. We at least want to extend it a day each year we've done it, like to make it a week because that's how other prides do it.
That's
And I think we can too. in
And you
Miramichi.
deserve that. That week
Yeah.
is just bringing so much
Exactly.
more to the, to enlighten people as to what you're doing and the hard work that you put into it.
Yep.
And
'Cause it's all
growing your numbers.
non-for-profit. Like
Yes.
this
Is it?
we
Yeah.
meet every week, usually at Paul's restaurant, the Piping Clover,
That's
or
good.
we meet at Mill Cove Coffee. She's so nice.
They're
Like
all nice people.
Just
I know.
open setting, nothing,
Yeah.
it's not structured. It's just
Right.
relax, be yourself kind
exactly.
of thing. And
And in the
chit-chat.
beginning, it was all planning and organizing. Right now, we're just sitting back and we just talk about what's going to happen because it's already all planned out.
I
now.
know you're
Well,
well
we
ahead
wanna-
of time.
I know.
believe it or not, we're out of time. Just like that kind of thing. We want to
Time goes
thank
by
you
way
so
so
much.
fast.
It is,
Yes, it
definitely.
does.
Again, thank you, Ryan. Thank you,
problem.
Chinchilla, for joining
Yes.
us today and filling us all in on Pride Miramichi. To our viewers, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week.
Have a nice week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.